So is Twitter even worth it as a musician? Hey, it's David Andrew Wiebe with Music Entrepreneur HQ, and today I have an update about Twitter growth. Now you might be asking yourself, well, why would I be on Twitter in the first place, especially if you're relatively new to the internet? This is one of those old guard social networks, right? And the reason is really simple. Even my friends are pretty surprised that with a small following, they can get a huge number of impressions on a single tweet. Now, oftentimes it is hard to tie that to real business results, but all things being equal, wouldn't you like more views on your content rather than fewer? So Twitter is pretty cool like that, and there's a community of people who actively use it and love it. Some people even say they exchange their use of Facebook completely, just abandon it and move themselves over to Twitter. Now let's get into the main topic, which is Twitter growth. Obviously, if you want to grow on any social network, you need a strategy. And last year I went pretty deep into Twitter. I bought a few ebooks, I took a couple of HubSpot courses, and I learned a few things I didn't know about the platform that I thought might help me grow my account. Now, after months and months of crafting tweets and sending call to actions and retweeting others and liking their posts and engaging with others, I gained a whole 50 followers. So I was like, well, something's probably wrong here. Either I'm like shadow banned by Twitter, or I'm just doing something so completely wrong but I'm not even aware of it. But I didn't really think it was the latter, because there were people starting to engage with me and I was starting to build a little bit of a community around me. So I'll walk you through the paces. A lot of people are going to say, okay, if you want to build your Twitter account, you got to set up an impeccable profile. You got to have a bio that talks about your potential customer or audience. You got to have a header graphic that also speaks to that. You got to have a profile photo that sort of calls them out. And you really got to ask yourself, like, how much do people actually look at your profile? I know it's not nobody, but whether it's LinkedIn, Twitter, or Instagram, or elsewhere, reality is people are probably seeing your posts more than you're seeing your profile. So that was not a key. I don't think it's a bad idea to have a nicely crafted profile at all, but I don't think it's going to be the biggest difference maker. Next is scheduling 10 tweets per day. Basically, the advice was something along the lines of know your niche, create the kind of tweets that would appeal to your audience, give them little tips and advice, maybe you post the occasional Twitter thread, and send out a call to action at the end of the day. That was really about the only advice. Now, again, you don't want to send people to an empty profile when they go looking for you, so there is some value in having tweets go out regularly. Like I said earlier, you can get a lot of impressions on a single tweet too, but in terms of Twitter growth, I don't know how much of a difference that's going to make. You might see an uptick in likes and retweets and maybe a little bit of an engagement, but not enough to say, okay, this is really worth my time to schedule tweets for an hour and a half every single week. And the next thing was to engage other Twitter users. And I tend to agree with that. It's a good idea to retweet them, to like their tweets, to leave a comment, something value adding, not just something random. Oh, that was a great tweet. Oh, I 100% agree. Or just restate their tweet in some way. That's not really going to get you anywhere. I do think building connections with people is valuable, but time and again, what I found was a lot of the sharp people on Twitter sort of have their closed network already. They're already connected to 10 or 20 other people, and they just retweet each other, but they don't include others in that. So that was only working so well. Now, I was on Twitter just the other week, and something I discovered was a hashtag. Actually, a couple hashtags. First one was the writers community, and the second one was the WritersLift. The way a WritersLift works is this. Basically, you'll get an invitation to share your blog post or your latest book or your YouTube channel or podcast or something like that in the comments. So the whole idea is as more and more people share their stuff, that tweet is boosted in the algorithm because of all the engagement. And some people participating in these WritersLifts will ask you to retweet them or follow them. Now, I've seen this work. I've tried it for a couple weeks now. Every single day, there's people doing these WritersLifts. So I might log into Twitter for half an hour or an hour, post my stuff in 20, 30, 40 different places while I'm engaging with others, while I'm retweeting, while I'm commenting on various tweets. And before you know it, overnight, I've gotten multiple likes, multiple retweets, and a bunch of follows. So you're probably expecting me to say the key to Twitter growth is participate in writers' lifts. That's not really the point, right? Like, that's a tactic. It might work for a while, but there's no guarantee that's going to work long term. So it is worthwhile to post your stuff to writers' lifts right now. But I think the key, the number one thing that I want to share about Twitter growth is build connections. It's just like any other social network that way. You're better off working with other people, whether it's a tweet partner or a tweet group or some kind of community that you belong to. It could be the hip hop community, for example. You start hashtagging or tagging everything with hip hop community, tweet out your stuff, get others to retweet and share it out, and before you know it, you've helped each other grow on Twitter. We also created our own hashtag called AbundanceLift. So if there's blog posts or podcast episodes or videos or new music releases that you want to promote, I would encourage you to use the AbundanceLift hashtag. But it comes with one warning, which is basically this. If you're going to use the AbundanceLift tag, please make sure that you're engaging and liking and retweeting other people's tweets, because that's the only way we grow. If you don't share other people's AbundanceLift tweets, then we don't grow together. So thanks for watching. That's my update on Twitter growth.